Oh, wrong one. Hold up. Sorry if you heard that in the back, but here is. What is this? That's wrong. Hold on, guys. Okay, here we go. This is the 2018 NFL playoff bracket. So if we look at the first matchup, we're going to start with the NFC. We have Cam Newton versus Drew Brees. This is going to be a competitive matchup, I believe. I believe the Saints have the home field advantage. It's going to be an interesting matchup between the Saints and the Panthers, I mean. But I think in the end, Alvin Kamara and Drew Brees and all the receivers that they have, I thought since they left back Brandon Cooks this year, it would be like a hard time struggling with the receivers. But no, it's actually going really good. And Carolina, they've got lucky with some games. So I feel like the Panthers showed off who they really like, what team they really were last week versus the Falcons. And by the way, I have to have a biased opinion on this because I'm a Seahawks fan, so it kind of hurt me a lot last week seeing Atlanta do that. But I feel like if we were to make the playoffs, Seattle, we would die in like the second round or so. But as we can see here, the Panthers, have they really done anything too great this season? They lost one of their best receivers that are in the playoffs now too, and we'll talk about that game next. But we talk about like Cam Newton. He's a quarterback, like some games he can go good and some games he can go bad. But I think in this game, he's just gonna be like he was last week. He's gonna throw like 2 interceptions. There's gonna be 3 turnovers in total. I do think the Saints are gonna get a fumble at some point in the game, but I do not think turnovers are gonna affect the game too much. But I think the final score is gonna be Saints over the Panthers. I have to pick 24 to 10 or something. But I'm going to talk more about the game. So we look at the Panthers again, as I just said. What team, like, their defense, they got Luke Kuechly, and you got their fullback on, I forgot his name. But they don't really have a good team. They have I don't know how to explain this. I feel like Super Cam, whatever they call him and all, he's really what's leading them to this point. Because we look at Cam Newton, he's leading the team pretty much. Luke Kuechly's leading the defense. But this is my opinion. I feel like the Panthers aren't really that great of a team. And the Saints are just... Props to the Saints, had a great year this year. And the Panthers, they didn't really have a good year. So therefore, I'm going to have to eliminate the Panthers from the playoffs. Alright, so to the next NFC game we get. The Falcons and the Rams. In this game right here, it's just going to be a shootout. If it's a shootout, the Rams win. If it's a low-scoring game, Falcons win. I'm looking at both ways right now. So you have the Falcons. Matt Ryan going into this game with a good win. He beat the Panthers, got in the playoffs, feeling great. The Rams, they didn't really come off such a great week, lost to the 49ers. Is their momentum, what going to cause them to lose it? Or is it just going to be Falcons choking again, but in the playoffs, in the wild card round? I feel like this is going to be a great quarterback matchup between these two because both of them really have a great quarterback on their team. Matt Ryan, MVP last year. Jared Goff, second year, and he's playing outstanding. But I feel like Atlanta's going to win. If it is a shootout, take my thing back I said earlier, because Matt Ryan has experience with the playoff. We look at Jared Goff. We look at the Rams. Haven't been in the playoffs since 2003. And the Falcons have been in it for like the past 2 years, I think. I don't know, one of those. past 2 or 1 year. But Matt Ryan has experience with the playoffs. He's been to the playoffs multiple times. He knows what he's doing. He knows, like, when playoff comes, it's a whole new season pretty much. You have people who are like, it's just a whole nother season, and everyone's just going to go full at it. But I do think Jared Goff is going to be a great opponent for Atlanta and the Rams. But I think Atlanta's going to end up winning 35-42. That's my total. All right, going to the AFC. We have the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. So this game right here, it's gonna be a low-scored game, definitely. It's gonna be less than 20 points. Any team, like the most someone's gonna score is probably 13 points or something. But I say that because the Chiefs, they started out great. I think it was like 6-0, and then they lost like their next. It was 5-0, and they lost like their next 5 or 6 games, I think, if I'm correct. But I know I just miscalculated that, but I'm just saying, like, the Chiefs started out fired. Like, we thought they were going to be, like, the new Patriots, because they beat the Patriots week 1, and we're like, okay, this game's over with. Chiefs are going to win it all after they went 6-0. We look at the Titans, just barely made the playoffs. Barely. But I have to say that I definitely think Alex Smith, none of these teams really have too good of a playoff experience. Alex Smith has an mediocre. I don't know if Mariota has any at all. I don't know yet. I don't really pay attention to the Titans that much. Usually I don't see the Titans in the playoffs, which is pretty weird to me this year they made it, because I thought instead of that, it was going to be the Dolphins. I thought it was going to be I thought the Dolphins were going to be in the playoffs instead of the Titans. It was going to be that, but instead it was just a whole nother team, the Chiefs versus the Titans, and I was like, okay, well, that happened. So therefore, but I feel like it's going to be 13-0. It's going to be a blowout. Chiefs are going to win, and they're going to go to Foxborough. All right, our next AFC game, the Bills versus the Jaguars. I feel like this game is going to be just simply Jaguars are going to win, like 42-14 or something like that. It's not going to be pretty for the Bills. It's just not going to be a good game in general. They're going to struggle in offense. They're going to get whacked up on defense. Tyrod Taylor, not the greatest quarterback in the AFC, not even close, actually. And I'm actually pretty surprised that the Chargers didn't make the playoffs, but, you know, it was pretty good. They had a good season, I guess. They barely made the playoffs because I think Cincinnati won or Cincinnati lost. It was one of those. I forgot. But in my opinion, this game has to go to the Jaguars. It's going to be like 42-17 or something. It's going to be just a shootout. So in the NFC, we have the Saints versus the Eagles and the Falcons versus the Vikings. So this is going to be who can score the most. No, it's not going to be a shootout. It's going to be whose defense can come up the clutchest. Because we have the Eagles, Jay Ajayi. They lost their starting quarterback, Carson Wentz. I don't think that's going to affect them. Nick Foles has been playing epic, but last week didn't have such a good game. Got blown out 6-0. But the Saints, they have a decent team. They have a really good team. And don't get me wrong, the Eagles have an outstanding team too. It's just, when it comes in the long run, the Saints are just more eligible to beat this Eagle team. Haven't been in the playoffs in a while, as well as like the Rams. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup versus the Saints and the Eagles. I feel like it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be like 24-27. And the Saints will move on to the conference championship, and they will face either the Vikings or the Falcons. So we have the 6th seed going up against the 2nd seed. I don't really know who to pick, because the Vikings, they beat Atlanta, held that Atlanta offense to the greatest, and they were just, it was just, you know, it was just really good, okay? It was just the Vikings over-controlled the Falcons. It was really not an interesting game until the fourth quarter. It kind of got, a little wiry halfway the fourth quarter. But in the end of the fourth quarter, it was kind of just like Vikings won this one. Falcons, you just blew it. Especially that second touchdown the Vikings got. It was just like, wow, this really just happened, didn't it? But in my opinion, the Falcons, they could pull off anything they could. But in my opinion, this is just going to be one of the greatest matchups in the playoffs. But the Falcons are going to end up winning 14 to 10. 14 to 10. Vikings are going to lose. So going to the AFC, we have the Chiefs versus the Patriots in the divisional round. They played last year, and we all saw what happened. And I think the Chiefs got really close to beating the Patriots. But right now, it's just going to be like, I don't know if this Chief defense is ready for Gronkowski. Are they ready for all, like, the Brady team and the GOAT? Like, they just have all the keys to success on the Patriots team. Now, do I think the Patriots are just going to blow them? No. Do I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns? Pretty much 13 points. I think they're going to win 27 to 13. Alex Smith is going to have a good game. It's going to be 13 to 13 going into the second half. And then Brady's going to score no points in the third quarter. And the fourth quarter, it's just going to be touchdown the first 2 drives. And then like 4 minutes left. Wraps up the game. Runs the ball. I feel like that's what's going to end up happening between the Chiefs and the Patriots. So therefore, the Chiefs had a good season. They got eliminated from the divisional round. It is now the Patriots versus either the Jaguars or the Steelers in the conference championship. So here we have the Patriots and the Steelers and the Jaguars. I feel like the Jaguars, they have a good team, but Blake Bortles is going to show what kind of quarterback he is. He's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but you're facing Big Ben. You're just really not going to pull off the victory in this. Like, you just have to go with, the Steelers in this one. I don't know if Antonio Brown's playing because of that leg injury versus the Bengals midseason. But if he is playing, I haven't focused on that. If he is playing, then not the Bengals. He had an injury versus the Patriots. But if he is playing, even if he's not playing, I still think the Steelers will beat the Jaguars and head on to the conference championship to play the Patriots. To the NFC we go to get the conference championship started. Who's going to the Super Bowl, the Falcons or the Saints? So the thing is here, both teams know each other extremely well. They face 2 times every year. The Falcons struggled the second game. The first game, I gotta say the Saints got pretty cheated by the refs in that one. That fumble, though. Hold on, what was that? Oh, whatever. But I do think the Falcons have a good team and the Saints have a better team. They're going to be playing in New Orleans no matter what, I think. Pretty sure. I don't think, though, that the Saints will just stomp on the Falcons the whole entire game. I feel like the Falcons will be dominant for the first quarter. Saints will be dominant until the fourth quarter. Then the Falcons will actually show off and all. And it's going to be 28 to 31. The Falcons are going to pull off a win and head to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row. But to the place, it's the Steelers and the Patriots in the conference championship. Who's going to win? Who's going to go home? It's really interesting. We look at this match and we're like, both teams are really good. They faced each other in the regular season. But I do not think the Patriots will win this one. I feel like the Steelers are going to come out victorious. They're going to be like diddly-do happiness. It's just not going to be pretty for the Patriots, in my opinion. I feel like it's going to be Steelers over the Patriots, 28-24. All right, to the Super Bowl. It's the Falcons versus the Steelers. The Falcons have had a decent playoff run. They've beat the Saints, they've beat the Vikings, they're doing excellent. But they run into the Steeler team, and boom, they just get whacked in the butt. It's not going to be a blowout, don't get me wrong. It's not going to be a shootout. It's not going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be fairly 17-19. I say this because I think it's going to be touchdown, Steelers, field goal, field goal, field goal. 3 field goals in the game, 1 touchdown for the Steelers. And then the Steelers win the game, and they won the Super Bowl. They beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl, and that's who's going to win the Super Bowl this year, in my opinion. Hope you guys enjoy this stream. If you did enjoy, smash that like button down below, and yeah. Goodbye. How do I end the stream?